Are you with it, girl?
Hey, welcome back in. It's Yellowhammer Radio, Superstation 101 WYDE. I am Scott Chambers.
I'm Andrea Tice, and we're about to head in and talk to the mouth from the South.
That's me.
No, it's the conservative from Hollywood, Miss Amanda Head.
Welcome in, Amanda. It's time for the Final 30. How are you today?
I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit.
Oh, look at that Southern saying right there.
Yes.
How about that? You don't hear that in Hollywood often, do you?
I was going to say, it doesn't sound very organic.
No.
Is that gluten-free? Is that a gluten-free biscuit?
I hope not. I hate gluten-free stuff.
Don't we all?
Good. I'm glad to hear that. You have not
I
lost
heart carbs.
your southernness.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
Not at all.
Good.
Well, there's so much going on in the world right now, Amanda. Much like, let's see, there was the Oscars the other night. Jeff Sessions is being called a liar. I don't even know where to start today.
Wherever you guys want. I've got an opinion on everything. So.
Well, now that we're a couple days out from the whole Oscar debacle, are you hearing down there, up there, over there in Hollywood, any of the lashback? Who's getting fired? Who's getting blamed? Who's getting drunk?
So PricewaterhouseCoopers, as you know, is the accountant, and they very, very meticulously count every single vote. It's under lock and key. I'm sure you can Google the picture of the two folks from PwC on the red carpet with the briefcases that have the results in the briefcase. So it's very, very well protected. But despite that, there was still a gaffe. So PwC has been doing this for quite a few years. I have to wonder if after this year they're going to switch over to another accounting firm. Let's see, when I was at Auburn and I was in the School of Business, there were War Eagle. There were four big accounting firms. It was PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, Deloitte & Touche, and KPMG. So I'm wondering if they're going to pass off the business to someone else because, and you know, look, here's the thing. I live in Hollywood. I was watching the Oscars with some friends of mine, and I think everyone, with the exception of me and maybe a couple other people, everyone was in the entertainment industry and, you know, actors and producers and things like that. And I know that it's devastating for them because this is something that they've been watching their whole lives. You know, my friend Sarah was like, oh, this is just awful. It's so sad. This is something that I've watched since I was a child. And it's just so sad that it's, you know, now it's just a mockery. And I'm sitting here thinking, there is no other. There's no more deserving industry than this industry. This is an industry and an award ceremony where they give awards for the best people in production, and yet they screwed up the biggest production of the year. And then, you know, as it's happening, I'm thinking, I wonder if there's some poor like PA stagehand who's backstage as they're announcing this, and he finds some rogue red envelope on a table backstage, and he's like, best picture, isn't this what they're supposed to be announcing right now? The whole thing cracks me up, and I hate to experience schadenfreude because a lot of these people are my so-called friends, but it's just hilarious, and like I said, you know, it couldn't happen to a more deserving bunch of entitled elitists. So
yeah, I know, Amanda, last week you talked about, in fact, you said a line that my husband commented on later after the show where you said you weren't going to watch or attend the Oscars because they were nothing but a bunch of props who read other people's written lines. And so here's the perfect example of what you said coming true, because I don't know if I'm being way too harsh on Warren Beatty, but I just thought, Emma, what's her name? Emma Stone?
Emma Stone, yeah.
She just got the award. You're reading her name on a card.
Right.
Why was there no thought at all to just a logical effort in deduction that maybe this is not right? Now
you are not reading into it. That's exactly right, and that's what happens when you are so reliant on regurgitating someone else's words, and you don't have, you know, some hardworking editor backstage working in real time to fix your mistakes. And to be fair, I think that Warren Beatty realized what was happening because he opened the envelope, he's looking at it, he's stalling, he's confused, and Faye Dunaway, with her big mouth, is the one who grabbed the envelope and blurted it out. So I almost think that, and Warren Beatty's not that old, you know.
No.
I don't think he's senile or anything. I think that he was honestly stalling and hoping that someone from backstage was going to say, wait, you know.
Well, if we take him at his word, that's what he exactly said he was doing. He looked at the card and saw Emma Stone's name for Best Actress for La La Land. So he was trying to stall, and he claims that when he tried to show Faye Dunaway the card, look, this doesn't say anything. I mean, he felt like he was out in the middle of the stage, like left alone in La La Land. And Faye Dunaway just read the card immediately.
I know. She just jumped in like she almost assumed this was he was being utterly stupid and just not reading it. And she just read it. It was like, so maybe I should be harder on Faye Dunaway because she just totally hijacked it.
Yeah, because I genuinely felt bad. I really felt bad for Warren Beatty. I mean, this is a moment. It's later in his career, and this guy has been bashed this week, and he did nothing wrong. Let's just be honest.
No,
he opened a card that Brian Cullen handed him. And I don't know if you guys have seen the photos or not, but backstage at the Oscars, the guy, Brian Cullen, who's an accountant with PricewaterhouseCoopers, he was tweeting 10 seconds before the announcement was made. He was backstage tweeting, and you could see he was holding his phone in one hand and the cards in the other, and then he managed to get them shuffled up. It's his fault. And he and Martha Ruiz, who is one of the other accountants, they are not invited back. PricewaterhouseCoopers have already said they will never work the Oscars again.
I don't blame him. But let me posit a notion, because as this was happening, I'm thinking, is there any chance that this was staged? Now, I'm no Alex Jones conspiratorialist, but it really doesn't hurt the La La losers to go up on stage, fake some speeches, and then, so graciously hand over their golden statues, because they were incredibly gracious about it. I mean, that producer, I don't know his name, but the one who said, no, it would be my honor to give this Oscar to my friends. I mean, that takes a huge amount of character. And I'm just wondering because, like I said, La La Land had already won a lot of Oscars. It doesn't really hurt them publicity-wise to go up on stage and appear, so big and so honorable and so gracious.
Yeah, I agree. It was a cluster, though. I've never seen anything like it. It's happened once in Oscar history back in like the 50s. I think it was Sammy Davis Jr. was out to present someone, and he realized it and said it, and they brought in the right card. It was insane, though. I mean, in days like today, if they would have had Twitter back then, it might have been a bigger deal. But in the world of Twitter and social media, it really took a life of its own within minutes. And then you saw comedian Anthony Anderson go out on ABC's After Oscar special and immediately go, hey, Emma Stone said she had the card in her hand. He was trying to immediately call some like racial conspiracy theory, and it was atrocious if you watched that. It was awful.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because I think that race has been injected into this anyway, because I saw all of the nominated films for Best Picture. I didn't think La La Land should have won, but I definitely did not think Moonlight should have won. And I'll tell you why, because one of my dear friends who is a bleeding heart liberal, who is the type of person to embrace a movie like Moonlight and celebrate it for everything that it's supposedly about, even she said, I had to watch it twice because at the end of it, both times, she's like, I still don't really get what it's about. And obviously it's about homosexuality and finding yourself and all this kind of stuff. But if you have a message and at the end of the movie people don't completely comprehend what that message is, you're not doing your job. And therefore it shouldn't have won. But I think that this is, overcompensating for the Oscars So White thing last year, because frankly, I think that Lion should have won. I thought Nicole Kidman was fantastic. I thought that the lead actor, I can't remember his name, the Indian guy, was fantastic. I thought the musical score was beautiful. I thought the cinematography was fantastic. Everything about it, the storyline, the fact that it was a true story, and they held so closely to the true story. I think that it should have won, but it's a victim of this PC culture where you've got to give it to the people who are on the forefront of the social narrative at the time.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% because I haven't seen Moonlight. I would imagine you haven't seen it, Andrea.
I have not.
You haven't seen it, Amanda. Our producer, Big Dave Richardson, hasn't seen it. It's a movie.
I saw it.
Oh, you did see it? Okay.
You
did see it.
And I had the same reaction at the end. I'm like,
what?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, after this whole brouhaha came about, I did go watch the trailer on YouTube, and I walked away going, what? It just seemed depressing, slow, and morbid.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't watch it, because I watched the trailer. I'm like, no, I have no desire to see this movie. I think it's an awful film. It was made for just barely over $1 million, and in Hollywood standard, I mean, that's like $1.50. You're not even buying lunch with that kind of money.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not buying lunch with that kind of money.
That's a single in and out. That's nothing.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a break. Our guest is Amanda Head, the Hollywood conservative. Follow her on Twitter. You can go to YHN Radio and pull up all the information to follow her. It's the HWCON. Follow Amanda Head on Twitter. We'll be back after a short break right here on Yellowhammer Radio. Hey, welcome back to Yellowhammer Radio, Superstation 101 WYDE. She is Andrea Tice. I am Scott Chambers, and our guest is Amanda Head, the Hollywood conservative. Check her out online, thehollywoodconservative.us. Amanda, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Amanda, I have a question for you. I don't know if you've heard this story about the guy who was an actor in Rogue One, Riz Ahmed. Have you heard this one?
Yes. Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Oh, my gosh. This is one of those instances here in Hollywood where I'm like, wow, you really are that stupid. So he's the actor from Rogue One. He was also on, what was the HBO series? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he says that if they put more Muslim actors or more Middle Eastern actors in film and television, basically, allowing them opportunities in Hollywood, that they wouldn't join ISIS. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a heck of a lot of sense right there.
Right? Yeah. So this to me is the epitome of the bigotry of low expectations. And I normally tie that phrase in with like entitlement and government assistance, but that's exactly what this is, because this is the suggestion that young Muslim girls and boys are so dumb and so weak and so lacking fortitude that if they aren't embraced by Hollywood and given parts in movies and television, that they're going to join ISIS. And it's how on earth do you think that is a plausible cause and effect?
Well, does he understand how shallow that sounds? Because what it's saying is, if a person doesn't see someone with the superficial elements being lined up with mine, such as the same skin color, eye color, hair color, therefore, if I don't see that, then I will choose bad principles to follow, and I will not choose good behavior or good principles or virtues to follow because I don't see the exact same thing on the screen that lines up with me.
Yeah, it makes about as much sense.
I hate to say it, but how racist is that?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's very racist, and truthfully, it makes about as much sense as saying, hey, if we put a bunch of fat people in Weight Watchers, they're never going to go to McDonald's. I mean, that's essentially what it's about the same thing.
And if the issue is, lack of racial representation in Hollywood, then why are there still white murderers and rapists?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good question.
Right, it cuts all ways across all cultural segments because crime is alive and well in a whole lot of areas, regardless of.
There's not any race that has a monopoly on crime. Now there is a religion that has a monopoly on terrorism, but let's not go there.
Yeah, well, you can go there. We're in Alabama. We've gone there before.
You're talking about a bunch of Southern Baptists, aren't you?
Obviously.
Yeah. Oh, but if you listen to the left, the Baptists, we're the bad people. All the Christians are bad people.
But no, I agree with your point, Amanda. If just simply having the representation on TV of your skin color is somehow going to prove or create virtue, then the fact that there's more white people would mean that there are no white people out there doing crimes because they see themselves behaving well, I guess. I don't know. Although when you watch movies, that's not the case.
Pure
and we
insanity.
obviously know that it's not the case that there are not white people out there committing crimes because, of course, there are.
Right.
Pure insanity. I mean, that's what you get, especially from a Hollywood liberal like that. I mean, and you deal with them every day.
It's so fun living here.
Yeah, I was about to ask, Amanda, how can you do it? Why don't you just pack up the bags and come back to Alabama? If you can't deal with them, come on back home.
I wish I could. But I have a show that's based out of here and 2 other shows that I have to do from here. So but someday. And I get back fairly often, so it's not too bad.
Hey, I've got one more question for you because before we go, there's some owners in North Alabama who own a drive-in, and they've opted not to show Beauty and the Beast based on what rumors are coming out that they're going to have a gay agenda, gay kiss, gay something.
It's the first gay character in a Disney movie, and there's an on-screen kiss supposedly with this gay actor in a Disney movie. And so these guys don't want to show it at their drive-in theater.
Yeah, so I guess basically
now,
my question to you, Amanda, really being somewhat facetious, is how fast would that drive-through be burned down if it were in California?
Yeah, burned down / spray painted with the obscenities or whatever.
Right.
But here's the thing. I saw, and the road to hell is paved with asterisks, because it's not the first gay Disney character, it's the first openly gay. Now,
right.
I watched this scene that was cited in the article on Daily Mail or Daily Caller, or one of the dailies. And the scene that it showed, I mean, unless you were looking for indications, it seems pretty innocuous. I didn't really notice anything, but you have to be careful when you are shutting down movies like this because of perceived homosexuality or whatever. Because in Little Mermaid, Ursula was actually patterned after the likeness of the drag queen Divine.
Right, exactly.
Also, Scar in The Lion King was supposedly gay. Elsa in Frozen, obviously we've heard that. The genie in Aladdin.
Seven dwarfs live together, okay? Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
There's little seven men live together, so something's going on there.
Yeah, yeah, right. But speaking of Little Mermaid, and I didn't preface this in our email earlier, but I just read an article about. Do you guys know who Jodie Benson is? Have you read this article?
I have not read the article. No.
Speaking of Little Mermaid, she was the voice of the Little Mermaid.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
She a huge Auburn fan.
Yeah, she ended up marrying an Auburn guy, and and she said she never leaves the house without her or someone in her family wearing something Auburn representing. And I never knew that. I don't know how, being in the music department at Auburn, I never knew that she was a massive Auburn fan. Anyway, I just thought that was cool. And I wanted to throw
it
that
took
out
me
there.
a second for that to ring a bell, but she's an incredible voice actress, actually. She's been on staff at Disney for like 25 or 30 years or something, if memory serves me correctly. And I know she's a huge Auburn fan because of her husband.
Voice in a movie like that, she's
huge,
incredibly talented.
Absolutely. No, I haven't read the article, though. I'll have to check it out. That's pretty cool.
I'll bounce it over to you.
Please do. I would like to see more. Okay, we can't get away today. In the last 4 minutes, I want to get Amanda's take on Jeff Sessions.
Okay.
He lied to everyone, Amanda. This guy is the biggest liar in the world, and it's time for him to resign. If you're a liberal, those are your talking points, right?
I cannot believe that he allowed Russia to invade Crimea. He gave them 20% of our uranium in exchange for donations to his foundation.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, wait.
We're going to start calling him Double Agent Sessions.
He met with some Russians on the tarmac of in an airport and talked to them, never disclosed what that was. Yeah.
Wonder how many Russian undercover spies have the middle name Beauregard. He's probably the first one.
But you know what? Okay, so this is the left MO. He'll never get the nom. He'll never win. Wait, the Electoral College. Wait, popular vote. Recount. Oh yeah, popular vote. Recount again. Resist. Russia. Racist. Illegal immigration. Xenophobe. Bigot. Women's rights. Racism. Russia. So the narrative for the left was they're just everything Trump does is racist. Well, that obviously didn't work. He got elected because people were so desensitized to the term. So now they're blaming everything on Russia. But here's the thing. If Sessions was really trying to hide something, why was he doing it at the Fed building in his office with other people present? And in order to proceed with perjury prosecution, you have to exclude probable, reasonable, and lawful explanations. And considering Al Franken's line of questioning, he prefaced it by providing the basis for questioning, which was over the course of the campaign. He said campaign twice in this question. And he's talking about Jeff Sessions as a surrogate to the Trump campaign, not as a senator, because as a member of the Senate Armed Service Committee, it's fully understandable that he would meet with these ambassadors.
Exactly. Exactly right. And we played the audio numerous times here on the program.
Yeah.
I don't hear the man lie.
Should he have expounded on his answer? Because, as we know, liberals are rabid and going to try every single crack in every story. Now, should he have expounded and said, no, I did not as a surrogate for the Trump campaign. However, we've got to make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's and fill in every little perceived space of information, because they are going to come after everyone within the Trump administration with a vengeance. So they've got to make sure they cover their fannies and that they are beyond reproach.
Yeah, it's a wearisome task, though, I'll tell you that much, because we have to, every little nuance has to be thought out because they're just waiting, pouncing like vultures.
Yeah.
Whereas they completely ignore egregious acts that literally smack them in the face, and they're like, "Oh no, it's fine, honey. It's just fine."
I don't think he should have expounded upon that answer. I think he gave them what they wanted. He gave them enough. I mean, this guy is a legal mind, okay? He was sort of lawyer speak. It wasn't needed at the time. He gave them the right answer. He gave them the answer he needed to do, and it is what it is.
Yeah, well, once we get through this potential investigation, I'm sure he's learned his lesson, and next time he'll give a 20-minute dissertation for a 3-word question.
But now the ladies from The View are calling for his head, and they want him to resign. So if Whoopi Goldberg says resign, Jeff Sessions, you better resign.
So we get to look forward to more politicians boring us to death. Oh, great.
Absolutely.
That's not a change I'm looking forward to.
Amanda, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on. Follow Amanda Head on Twitter, the HWCON, and we will talk on the Final 30 again next Friday. It's a pleasure, Amanda.
Have a great weekend,
Bye,
Amanda.
Have a great weekend.
Amanda.
Have a great weekend.